And now, your local forecast.
You're tuning into the forecast. My name is M4 Sonic and I'm joined each week by my co-host Chief Street.
Hello, hello.
And tonight we are very pumped. We have the GERMEIN sisters. We've got Ella and Georgia joining us. Hello.
Hello.
Welcome.
Do we wave?
Yeah.
Yeah. An air wave to those in their ears.
So if you're watching or listening and you're not familiar with the girls, there's actually a third sister.
Yeah. We didn't know whether to bring her or not. And then she was like, oh, you guys go do it, but we'll bring her next time. Yeah.
All right,
She's
so
only
next.
tiny, actually. She would have.
Yeah, she'd be fine.
Yeah.
So basically we wanted to get you on the show because we're doing a spotlight on Adelaide talent because our hometown Adelaide, we have so many phenomenally talented artists doing amazing things and we want to share your story. How did it all start? So were you all musical from day dot or was this a later thing?
It was definitely like we just didn't know any different. We thought everyone went and played instruments after like having dinner at night. And our dad was heavily into music with his brothers growing up. He lived on a farm on the York Peninsula and they were in like all the sort of trumpet, trombone bands and all that sort of thing. But he loved like New Orleans jazz growing up and had a jazz band that he used to play in, and we'd go watch him at like the Day on the Greens, and he used to play at the Havelock and things like that. So we'd watch them, and they have an amazing lead singer who's the most coolest entertainer. So we used to go a lot to those gigs. But yeah, we just always had playing music. Like we lived on a couple of acres in the Adelaide Hills, and yeah, we just always were outside or playing music. Like we loved it, and Dad would always have us like playing for our grandparents, or like Mum would like guilt us into like playing for like all our old lady friends and stuff like that.
Been there, got prodded to play piano.
But we really enjoyed it. I think in the early days though, I don't know how they put up with it because Georgia played violin from age 4. I think she was the first one to start.
Violin's
painful, right?
Yeah, it's the worst. And there's so many videos of it's just like squeaking for like.
It was like nonstop. Like Claire and I would do our little bit to our grandparents for like maybe, I don't know, 10 seconds or 20 seconds of a song, but George's would be like 5 minutes of just like.
And they'd be like, and go again. Like, there's another one.
I've got another
and it would go,
one.
there's videos about like, it's like an hour long of just me being like, and it's just like playing the one note and it's screeching. Like, I think you only, I don't know, you have to be really good at violin for it to sound good.
Yeah, so everyone starts at that stage.
Yeah, you got to start somewhere.
I don't know if I told you, Mum, sorry to cut you off, Mum learned violin later in life.
Oh, okay.
I think it was to get me to move out of home.
Oh, really?
She was playing Mary Had a Little Lamb and it was so bad that the bow
geez.
busted. And I think the bow was worth more than the violin.
Yeah. Some are really expensive. We toured with someone that's friend's cello was worth like £25,000 and they have a seat for it on the airplane, which is, I think like probably a lot of people have that. But yeah.
Wow. So, okay.
We put ours in maybe one day.
Tour with our
But
violins
sorry,
anymore,
to go offside. So yeah, played music growing up ages. And then Georgia did a lot of songwriting from an early age. I think you entered lots of competitions, and that we met Alex Hosking at one of the songwriting competitions. So we love Alex. You guys had last week, was it, or the week before? A couple of weeks ago. Yeah. Yep. She's so cool because we're all chicks from Adelaide, and like it's so cool seeing all the stuff that she's doing as well in the UK. So I love catching up with her for a good chat when we're over there, and we reminisce to our old like days doing the songwriting and all that kind of thing. So yeah, Georgia did a lot of that, and then Claire and I were just sort of like, come along and play with you.
Yeah, we would just, I don't know, play together as siblings a bit. And then I did a kind of solo album. Like I'd written all these songs in school and then I did a solo album at the end of
Year 10 project. Like, how some
that was one of them.
Called again? Like
personal project. I think but now it's called something else.
As part of,
But anyway. That was a thing.
One no one liked to do. Claire made a surfboard and I think she literally just like someone made it and she like spray painted the outside and that was her done.
Mine was familiar. I did a musical one where I said I was learning the drums and then for my final hand up, I just gave him the drum track to a song already and was like, that's me. I kind of cheated a bit, but...
That's awesome, yeah.
That's awesome.
So when did the band come together?
Yeah.
It was probably after school, I think. Like we were always playing together. Like, like you said, Mum and Dad would just be like, play
It was actually Georgia and the GERMEIN sisters.
Yeah, it was Georgia Germain, and then it was Germain, and then it sort of was Georgia Germain sisters, and it was Germain sisters, and then it was now it's kind of
I was
more
like,
Germain.
all right, guys, I'm gonna be frank with you. I'm like, if we're gonna do this thing, I want to just Germain sisters. Like when people are like, oh, do you guys fight? We don't fight anymore, but like when we were like, imagine like,
I say we still fight a bit.
oh, but we're like civil when we get over it.
Claire is the mediator, and she's here, so I'm like, this is a dangerous space. No, it's fine.
But yeah, in the early days, and it is like you guys would know as well, like the hustle and everything. It's not even just being frustrated with, say, like a small situation in whatever is happening with the band. It's usually stuff that's external to the band that you might, be missing a friend's birthday party. Or for me, I think I missed a couple of uni exams, and then there was another job. I was working up at Channel 10 in Brisbane on a show called Totally Wild when I was younger, and I had to sort of pick and choose like with dates, and like we had an offer to do some pretty big tours in China and Germany, and I had to sort of figure out what to do there. So there was like, it was not so much us angry about band stuff. It's usually external stuff or like relationships and things like that. And you'd be going away all the time, and then things would fade off, and you sort of go back to blaming like, oh, like if I wasn't doing this. But then like we are so glad that we've stuck to it because we've had such an amazing time. Obviously we'll probably talk about later.
Yeah, for sure. So we sort of, we did, I think we opened for, it was like Renee Gayer or something at the Norwood.
Well, Russell Morris, do you guys know him? No.
Ian Moss.
Did we do
just
Daryl Braithwaite?
We did him.
Yeah.
It was at the Norwood, what's it called? There's like a venue in Norwood, and it's really
Norwood Live.
Yeah, really good sound there. And we would just get the opening spots for whoever was touring there at the time. And then
our first music festival was at Kangaroo Island Surf Music Festival. Do you guys remember that?
Did you producer Luke off screen? You can't see him.
Yeah, it was good. It was a bit of a dust bowl, but it was good. And we were so stoked. I remember we used this local designer. She had a brand called Casper and Pearl, and we all got matching dresses made for it. But the wind, oh my goodness, like we were just like our instruments were at the front, but we were like out the sound guys at the back got a nice view of our 21-year-old butts.
Nice.
Our mum had printed all these like bandanas to hand out to people that said Germain sisters, like because we were so excited. It was like our first ever real festival, and I think like the Beautiful Girls were playing, and who else was it?
I can't remember.
It
was like.
This was like years ago. I couldn't even. I wish they kept doing it because it was really good. But I think that year it was just like a good. Yeah, it was a bit of a trial.
Kind of like Isle of Wight Festival, but just going on the ferry and
then sort of later than that, Georgia I think wrote a commercial for something, or you got song got selected. Song got selected for some international commercial. And so we met. It was like through the Tourism Commission, I think, and. There was like they had contacts in Germany and in the UK as well, and their people got in contact with us and like, if you ever want to come and do some shows here, we're like, okay. And we also, because we're getting compared to the Cause at these Norwood gigs, they're like the Australian Cause, and so we're like, we could like go. It would be great to record with someone who would not make us sound like them, but sort of had worked with them, and we just like shoot our shot. Like, and our mum was our manager at the time, and she still helps us out every now and then. But back then, she was just like a nurse, like not just a nurse, but like no musical background. But she was just always such a go-getter. Like we called her like the Energizer Bunny, and sometimes we'd be like, "Settle down, Sue." But like she
shout
just
out Sue if you're watching at home.
She'd be like, "Say nice things." But no, she was so just like persistent. Like her support and her belief in us to do well was, I mean, whether she believed it or not, but she would just like she'd push not push in a pushy way, but she'd find everyone. Like she'd Google or she'd read some magazine and someone's name was mentioned, she'd write it down in a notebook, and she just would send like
she had so many pieces of paper,
everywhere, like so erratic. But she's just like, there's absolutely no way on this earth that we'd be where we are without her, because she emailed everyone. And then, long story short, a guy that did produce The Cause got back, and he's like, "Yeah, sure, why not?" So that's how it all sort of started, and then from there. The Googling and everything continued. Mum would chat to people, and then emailed this guy that runs the Isle of Wight Festival, but also one of the biggest booking agencies in the UK. And he was so lovely and had us just, he's so funny. He's like, "Sure, why not? You can come play at the festival." Yeah. And then each year he'd have us back as we slowly started like building more connections over in the UK, and we'd meet other people. And then he offered us the Ronan Keating tour in Germany. So
wow.
It was like, it was just one of those like opportunities, and like, it was like all very self-funded by us. It was like, here it is if you want it, because obviously it's quite competitive to get support acts and things like that. But we were like, yeah, definitely. And like, it was so amazing. And then I think just through after that, we did, there were just a few odd shows here and there. I think there was one in Phil Collins in New Zealand, and then
Little Mix.
Little Mix. That was probably the turning point when you say like you see what potentially could it be like.
Yeah.
And that was amazing. So I think that was like 2016 or 17, I reckon. And there was 15 shows and they were huge stadiums. I think the biggest was 30,000, and we were the opening act, and then another act called Raksu were after us. And we just had the best time. Like it was like being on school camp, and we were like on the other side of the world.
In the best way.
In the best way.
School camp.
Oh no, but like even the crew and stuff, like it's not even like, and obviously being around the artists and the energy and everything was really fun. But even just the crew, like we've still got like some of our best music friends from that. And like we, you know, because they understand as well, even though they're not on stage, they tour and do all the grind, and they probably don't get enough recognition, I think, a lot of the time. So we just had the best time with them, and Little Mix were really fun. The crowd was amazing, like all these girls screaming, and like we just had so much fun. That was really good. And then, yeah, just sort of kept kicking on from that. We did a schools tour in Switzerland. We've done like every gig you can think of.
Were you playing in Australia much, or was most of your shows overseas? Because it sounds like...
I think
it was mostly, we'd come home and do like corporates and stuff, because that would
Yeah.
help like fund a lot of it. And we were really fortunate to get a few grants as well to kick us off from the start. And then it was just sort of like come back, then like, and then go. We'd sort of chase the summer generally.
Yeah, but each year it was just like another connection. And we just like it's a massive, massive slog. Like obviously we're talking about all the fun parts, but there's a lot of times when you just like drive, like Clara is the drummer, and she a lot of the time was driving, or mum would be driving and would be in this tiny cramped car, and like that wasn't even meant for like people in the back. It was meant for like trading tools or whatever, and like driving across the Autobahn and then ending up in a random place. And like and then one time we were supposed to do this schools tour and in Germany, but then they got the dates wrong, so we were in this tiny like farm.
I remember there was no internet, which at the time was like, oh my gosh.
There was no shop. There was like a cornfield. Like each day we had our like...
We were just sort of like,
and then the guy that we were staying with, he's so lovely. He's like the coolest dude ever, Oliver, and he's sort of like our sort of Swiss manager or contact, and he used to work at Sony, and he's just so fun. But he was like, oh, you can stay in my house. I've just bought it, but it was this old schoolhouse that was about 4 stories tall, huge ceilings, but only about 2 rooms were livable. So it's like, imagine like this like old schoolhouse, like really dusty, like old building, and then like 2 of the rooms. So I think I had Kath and Kim on the hard drive. So we'd be watching Kath and Kim, and then...
It was my birthday during those 3 weeks.
Yeah. It was just like, we had our ritual, cool. And then I think maybe an hour or so a day, he'd turn on his hotspot and we could like say hi to mum and let her know we were alive. But like, this is just a massive sidetrack. But like, we've done so many random gigs like in between all those big tours as well. But in Australia, like, yeah, we do corporates here and there. We did Tamworth Country Music Festival. Definitely recommend if any country artists, even not that country, like they were actually one of the most supportive for new artists, I think, like that we've noticed in Australia. Like the country music scene is so warm and welcoming, and they're so just like get amongst it. We were playing like, I think,
we started busking because you couldn't just go get gigs. You had to busk. So the first year we busked, and then we sort of, built it up over the years. But everyone was just it was just nice.
It was so fun. But we do 2 or 3 shows a day that were 3-hour shows, like 3-hour cover shows. Wow. And like in the heat up there in Tamworth in January, it's like, but we had such a fun time. And then we won that giant check.
Oh, yeah.
And it was
and then we drove like,
novelty.
Like $1,000. We won the busking championship.
And we had to like then drive back to Adelaide.
It was Dad's birthday. And we're like, let's just do it in one night.
We did it 17 hours.
Yeah.
We just like, woohoo.
Anyway, it
so
was fun.
You wouldn't get booked for a slot. You'd have to just busk at some...
Yeah, your mum
I'm not sure what
someone that ran a stage there, like a fan zone, which is like a small stage. And then you could do, they have all these like pubs and hotels. So I think if you call in advance, you can get like a slot there for the afternoon or morning. But it's a great way for like new talent to be seen by doing like the cover shows, then mixing a couple of their songs in. And it's always full just to people drinking 4X and like
mint.
And everyone can't like even if you don't even like play country, but just go up there for the time, it's actually the best.
I was just in Narracourt for their Food and Wine Festival last weekend, and the band, so good. You know, by 4 o'clock, everyone's completely tanked. And everyone was rocking out in their Central Park just going nuts. And it was such a
yeah.
vibe. I miss it because I used to tour with bands,
Yeah,
but
yeah.
not as an electronic guy. So I was on
That's
Warped
right,
Tour.
yeah.
Do you guys know Warped Tour?
Yeah. Bands Warped Tour.
Yeah.
Yeah.
cool.
We're like
That's like a cool, like we would never have been cool enough to do that. But yeah.
No, I
like,
could totally see you guys. Because like,
bit more
Oh,
eyeliner
shucks.
I
and
mean,
yeah,
the-
don't look.
there was a bus full of DJs on Warped Tour, and there was a few states of America. They're like, why? But yeah, people just got amongst it. But it was almost like busking at some point because we'd rock up to these random venues. Like sometimes it'd be an amphitheater, sometimes it'd be, I don't know, in a car park. Or a stadium. Like just it was hit and miss. And then sort of the Midwest. That's where people are like, why are there electronic acts? But we converted them because we had to, you know,
Yeah.
go for it.
That's
I
so
know.
cool.
I think for us as well, being like, and not at all playing the girl card because we never ever want to do that. But I think especially in the early days, it's a lot better like in the last couple of years. But I think of those early days, like especially like for booking gigs and stuff, like people would like see all three sisters or they must be folk sisters. I think that's why at the time we dropped sisters because people were thinking we were like this folk, like prissy sort of, nothing wrong with that either, by the way. There's some beautiful music that come from folk, but that wasn't what we were doing. We were doing like Georgia's really big on it, like rock guitar and like we were definitely pop, but pop rock and had a lot of energy and like a lot of people would sort of write us off just by first glance when we'd walk in because we're all very different as well, like in our styles and things like that. But then it was the best when you play a gig and they're like, wow, I didn't think you were going to be that like good or I wasn't expecting that. So that's like the biggest compliment for us because we're like, it was nice to hear that. And that's when one of our songs that we wrote, I think a few years ago that won a bunch of awards in the international songwriting competition called Good for a Girl. So that was sort of inspired by that experience.
Awesome.
So yeah, it's been really good. And and back to the journey. And then after that, we did, COVID happened. That was a pain in the ass.
Yeah.
But we did a couple of sister sessions, which we just hooked up with a couple of our artist friends from around the world. And we'd record like a cover. So we'd do a few they'd do some stems and then we'd do some and Georgia would mix it at home. And then we'd do a little thing on YouTube. And it was just something fun to keep us going. We did a couple of virtual concerts, which were the weirdest things. I think Mum again was in the audience and that was it at the Gov. So we're like, everyone clap. But it was cool. It was with Live Nation and I think they had over like maybe 30 countries or something.
Yeah, it was like streamed online or something, but it was on all the different Live Nation Facebook pages or something. But it was cool seeing how people were trying to be were creative during that time when you couldn't tour because it was weird because it was like you just couldn't go anywhere. And it wasn't just us, it was everyone was in the same boat in our industry especially. It was just like, okay, so we have to think about how we can make this work.
Yeah.
You guys spend that time writing music or anything like that or?
You were at 21 in that time.
Wrote a bunch of things, it was good. I think for us it was weird because we've been touring for it felt like so many years before that and we were just nonstop. So I think, not that we necessarily needed the break, but it was just a really nice time we were kind of forced to stay in one place. And
I got chickens and now 6 chickens turned into 40 chickens.
You got a farm,
So
basically.
you're just kind of positive about the rest period.
If anyone wants a rooster.
she's got a lot of roosters.
It was really fun. It was good and it was relaxing, but there was a definite part of the unknown because we've been playing since we were 4 or 5. It's all we know. A lot of our identity, I think, feels like it comes from music. And I personally, I don't know if you felt the same, went through a bit of a really, as everyone went through a down patch because I was like, I don't know who I am without touring and doing all this stuff. And even my life outside of that, I don't know who I am. And I was really scared that was going to go. So I think having our mum's been amazing is always just turn negative into positive. So I think if it wasn't for her inspiring us throughout our whole life, it would have been really hard. We turned the sister sessions, we did this, we kept going and just had hope that, the next couple of years we're going to turn around. Then slowly restrictions got lifted. We could head back to the UK. Our agent booked us a couple of shows and then I think there was a couple with Tom Jones. So that was really fun. That's how that started. And then,
how was that?
Oh, it's so good. He's actually coming to Adelaide. I'm not sure to be out by then, but
get him on the podcast. Just
can you bring him in, please? Sir Tom Jones.
I know he is so cool. His voice is amazing, and just the band as well. And his crew was so nice. So we had the honor of doing those gigs, and that was really fun. And
we did a few. We did a few that summer with him, and then we did more last year, and then we did his UK tour just recently in December.
Yeah, we played at the O2 in London.
So can you just for anyone that's listening or watching that isn't familiar with that venue,
it's if you go along the corridors backstage, it's all the people that have played there, and you see Lady Gaga and Beyonce, Taylor Swift, like, I mean,
Just an
all my
iconic,
stuff, but there's
like-
obviously like Blink-182 and all like other bands.
And you
like,
guys. So
I mean,
We'll take that. We'll support
we don't get a
that.
picture yet, but maybe one day.
I'll just be banging my picture up there. Just,
just
whatever.
put it over like one of the bands. But yeah, it was just so cool. Like those venues are just so amazing, and yeah, that was pretty fun to do.
I'm curious, when you're touring with someone like Tom Jones, do you actually spend much time with him? Do you see him at all?
No,
or do you change, like you ever walk across the hallway? Or
We've met him a few times.
Yeah, we've met him. It's usually been arranged by their team. He does so many shows. Like he is an absolute gun. Like he'll be like back-to-back shows, and they're long shows. Like we only play like 30 minutes or so, but he's just like
about
2 hours.
I
So
reckon.
every night. So a lot of the time, like the main act will usually maybe be hanging in their dressing room, or they might rock up maybe a little bit before they go on, but they'll probably be at their hotel, and then straight after the gig they'll go to bed and get their rest, because it really is like being an athlete on tour. And like a lot of people think like, you know, you're drinking and going crazy every night. Like sometimes there'll be an after party. Like Little Mix had a really great after party, which was lots of fun. I tripped over in front of them all, but didn't spill my champagne. It was like the most embarrassing thing in my life, but we don't talk about that. I didn't. It was one of those things, and they were talking to them. I'm like, yeah, it's been so nice. Thanks for having us on the tour. And I was wearing these boots, and you know those hidden steps at venues where they're like, it's only about that high. But I turned around on this huge adrenaline. I just went flat down. I remember like holding it, looking up, and they're like, "Are you okay?" And then like the security guard came and like picked me up, and he was like pissing himself laughing. He's like this huge dude who does like Ed Sheeran and Jay-Z and all those big guys, and he just like picked me up. He's like, "Do you know there's a stair there?" I was like, "I know, I'm so embarrassed." But anyway, I don't know why I went down that path. But,
we don't talk about it, but
we don't talk about it. But this happened. Yeah. What were we talking about? Oh, yeah. So, like, yeah, the main acts, they'll be around. Like, sometimes they'll be about, like, we did some shows with Sting and, like, you know, and, like, Blondie.
As you do. Yeah,
and, like, they'll be around. But, there is definitely a backstage etiquette, and we've quite a seasoned support band now, and you definitely know, like, to respect artists' privacy. Like, you wouldn't have your phone out, like, even at after parties and things like that, because, you know, for them, like, they're also very private. You just respect that as well. And like, you know, at the end of the day, no one, like, you don't want to feel like uncomfortable, especially if it's your show and stuff like that. So, yeah, but no, we've never had any ill experiences with anyone, and everyone's always really lovely and supportive, and yeah.
Nice.
Yeah.
But yeah, and all we
I'm
did
still thinking about Sting. I'm like, what?
Yeah. Oh, he's so good. We're actually really lucky. We've got a couple shows with him this year in the UK.
6,
I think. So if you're over there,
I keep saying a couple. I'm like, that means 2. Like, but
I don't
anyway,
know.
it's fine. But we're
With one? Yeah.
anyway, but
Wow.
Well, if you like picked up a bag of nuts, like if you had a couple of
There's
nuts.
always like a few nuts. And then, I don't know. That's fine. I'm always just
Anyway.
like,
Just a few nuts.
It doesn't matter.
So when are you jetting out? How long are you in town for?
We're here for a bit longer. Like we've got Tom Jones's Australian tour coming up, so that'll be over just Oz, and then back to the UK in June at this stage. Last year we did South by Southwest in Austin, which is amazing.
Yeah, I haven't done that.
Oh, you should just go. Even if you don't go to play, just go. It's so much fun.
I heard good things. Yeah.
There's lots of free stuff as well. Like,
Do you go?
we all like those kids with a show bag, and it's like, people like, free hat. Like, need another free hat and another free thing to write something on. Another pair of sunglasses that say like South.
it's so it was huge though. Like there were like 1,500 bands showcasing when we were there, and apparently that was like small. Like they were still building it up from COVID, but it was like then we did Great Escape a few months after, and that was nice because it was about
it's like the same. It's kind of like Big Sound for people that don't know those festivals, but they're really, really good for networking. Sounds Australia run the Aussie barbecues,
Shout out to Sounds
and
Australia.
we love them. They are so fun. So like they do amazing events, and it's just so much. It's really cool, and we should definitely mention that we did the Cause tour last year as well for Cause and Natalie and Brilliant and Tony Charles. So that was so much fun. So like there's like that 360 we were talking about earlier when Mum emailed, and then it was so crazy to have like, you know, not a couple of years later, but years later, being able to open for this artist that we got told we sounded like, and like it was like just shooting the shot. Let's email the producer. So I know Billy, like the producer that did that, was so proud of us, and just we FaceTimed him from the pit when we were watching them play, and he was so chuffed.
Cool.
So yeah, it's been fun.
That was such a fun tour. And
sorry, that was the longest, and I'm sorry if anyone's still here. Well done.
No, this is amazing. Because like we think it's really important that we educate people on the journey and the process, because we're finding post-pandemic that I think people are a bit over the finished product, the polished product.
Yeah.
They want to know, like, why did you write that song and what was the worst experience you had on tour? And they want to know you know? And we really struggle. Well, when I say we, I'm speaking on behalf of Cheap Straight Night because we're best buds. And we struggle with the whole, like, having to keep up with TikTok and Instagram. And we're getting
so
better
bad at it, but we... Actually, Luke will be like, I told you to get on. I saw Luke and his partner, Hannah, a couple years ago in Zadar, and he's like, have you had this thing called TikTok? And I was like, I don't know about that stuff. Like, Instagram's enough. I think it was 2019 maybe, just before that. And so, I don't know. And then, idiot me. Should I listen to him?
Well, yes and no. I think there's two arguments. One is the route that we've done, which is you've done music for the right reason, number one. So what I've picked up from this is that you're passionate about it, you pursued it, and you had support. And that is fundamentally important, right? To have people in your corner to go do this, and then you shoot your shot. And great things happen when you are talented and prepared and ready and you go for it, right? Great things happen. But I think the kids today, they're missing that integral part. I think what they're seeing is you need to be Instagram famous, or you need to have 1 million likes on TikTok, and they're sort of chasing that avenue, which is really hard. It's like chasing money, you know?
Yeah. And also, like, even that instant gratification, like, I do a couple of the edits and stuff for our socials, and, like, you know, you spend like a day compiling the footage, getting it all nice together, and then people just like, oh yeah, that's nice, 20 seconds, boom, and like, and then it's just like, all right, do the next thing, and like, I think as well, like, I feel very lucky that we did do all those slogs. Like, the amount of, like, late nights. I remember we played in Canada at this festival. We were on at 3 a.m. in the morning and played for like 45 minutes to like 2 old men, and like probably just want to see some girls like shaking it. But we weren't shaking it. Maybe not. I don't know. Like, we've done all sorts. We played on the GAN to get a free ticket to Perth because it was expensive to drive there. So Mum somehow figured out that, I don't know if this is still a thing, but
they need
the GAN's just
DJ?
going to get all these like emails. Yeah.
I think it was only like, and you only have to do like maybe 2 30-minute sets for like, and it's like a 2-day trip.
And you get a free ticket.
We got upgraded. Well, Claire and I got upgraded.
I don't know if it's still a thing, but like, if you
Dino Cruises, if you're listening.
So we go and we like had a cabin and stuff, and like it was just like some older folks on there.
It was so someone taught you how to knit.
I was knitting, and this lady's like, no. And I was like, oh, well, we've got time.
You got educated on how to knit.
Yeah. It was really cool though. Like, so we've done so many, like, you know, when people say do the 10,000 hours, and we've still got more to do. Like, we're still nowhere near the point that we'd love to be at, but we also just loving the journey and loving seeing it. And like I was saying about Alex Hosking that was in the other week, like, we're like still in the game, like we're still here. Like, because you sadly do see a lot of bands break up, and it is so hard, like, you know, especially as you get older and, you know, introducing families and mortgages and things like that. And when you're not at that level where you can sort of take that break back and not do it, it is like you feel like, oh, what do I do? And especially like, so it is weird. But I think because we all do it together, we're like a bit of a tripod. So we all sort of like pick each other up when we need to. But
I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Neuroscience. It's a bit nerdy.
That's all right.
There's this special thing. I've only had it with a couple of artists where, shout out Indy Stanton, when she's in the vocal booth, we get into flow state really quickly.
Yeah.
We can write songs together super fast. But we finish each other sentences, and I don't actually need to instruct her or and vice versa. She'll just have a thought, and all of a sudden I'm doing it. And,
that's awesome.
I didn't.
It wasn't quite the same. Oh my gosh, potatoes, pancakes. No, I'm joking. That's all right.
Pizza. I like pizza.
It's proof. It's happening.
No, right.
Do you think being sisters, has there been some weird times where you just, I don't know, you just become one?
Definitely. Like, I think just every time on stage, like I've played cello for a couple artists, and I was like, oh, like it was so weird because I look at Georgia all the time for direction. I know what she's going to do. Yep. Sometimes she goes off lip, but even still,
I can tell that Ella's like not having
about like side eyes. Like, anyway, because she's very much by ear. I can play by ear to a point, but I also just like to know, like, yeah, you're just a little bit more better. but that's okay. But we definitely do, I think, where I can look at her, I know when she's about, we've played for so long, we just know each other,
you know what's happening in the song, it's just, so you just do it. But with other artists, it's definitely like, oh, I have to pay attention, and you don't really. So that side of things definitely.
And because we've played so many big live shows together, like we've been, definitely I recommend as well, if you are doing bigger shows, is getting a like a stage choreographer. I don't know, what did Tom Jackson do? He was like a
just like I guess
like a music director, but also like
planning out your shows and your sets. So it's not just like this song and this song and this song. It's like, why are you doing
just like the album? Like you want to have like some moments and you want it to build up. So that's something we never really knew about. And this guy had come over from Nashville, and I think he'd worked with a couple of artists.
It was part of like a arts essay thing, and they had this guy come and he like had us on stage, and he was like, no, don't do that.
Scary,
it was a little bit like,
he told me off for like being a sloppy walker. He's like, don't walk like this, like walk like this. Like he's like, if you're wanting to go somewhere, you get to that point and then you clap. And he's like, because I used to hate getting the audience to clap. I'm like, oh, it's so embarrassing. Like, but he's like, no, like they want to be told. Like, and it's like he changed up so many of our songs, and then we use sort of his methods. But there's probably a few people that do it. Like he's like, Georgia,
you can do it yourself as well. Like
your solo, like, I don't know, 30 seconds longer than it should
make
be.
It long, like make things longer or cut things out, or just like have moments in the song, so it's not just playing the song through from start to finish.
You probably realise if you see like people like, any artists like Taylor Swift or anything, like, they have like the track, and like maybe we could work together and you can do some like tracks for us in between. And like I hate an awkward silence, as everyone knows, on stage. So definitely need some of that instead of me running my mouth. But that was something that was super rewarding. And I think
and for us, it's such a big part of our brand is our live show, and that's how we've been able to just, you do a good show and people ask you back, and so that was massive.
Also, just be polite to everyone. And if you are a support act, like you can get you're quite disposable. I think we try not to be, but it's like you definitely do see a few egos every now and then around, especially when you're starting out. And I think it's just really important to be humble, and you never know who's in the room, because like you could have some huge music book or a huge whoever, and they're just in sneakers and a thing, and you could just think that like you just always be nice to everyone, and especially the crew as well. Like they work so hard. Like we get there and play an hour or whatever, but they're there from like the crack of dawn, setting up lights, setting up stage, and like being nice to them. Like I see people we've seen people be rude to sound people for none of the artists that we've mentioned today at all. But just sometimes there's some of the other things we've played out, I was like, it's just no.
It's the worst thing you could do. That's what
I was like, you don't want bad sounds. They're the nicest ones you should be nice to.
Absolutely. We were on buses and then had trucks with our stage, and the truck would roll in and then like a transformer fold out into our stage. And probably for the first 4 to 5 weeks of tour, none of us helped. We just didn't know. We had no one. You don't know what you don't know. And then eventually the crew was getting pissy. They're like, you guys just think you're rock stars, and you just say on the bus all the time, and you go off and whatever. And like every day we set this up for you, and we'll make sure you sound great. Like when are you going to give back? So we made an effort. We're like, we went to Walmart and we got some gloves because we didn't want to hurt our hands. And we helped build the stage and pack it down. And
that's really nice.
I just noticed the bass sounded heaps sweeter. They were sleeping on the bus. That didn't help. And my set just went a little bit longer.
Cool.
It
100%. And I think a lot of the time, a lot of the artists that we have been asked back for, we hope it's maybe because we've been nice, but
you just have to be a good human.
Yeah, just be nice.
And it's not that hard to.
And everyone's on whether you're on stage or not, it's if anything, I feel like the crew are more important than the artists. Obviously, the artist puts the show on and things like that. Be really a big team. We always try and make a point of thanking the crew and everyone, because
so cool.
And we're always just so grateful that we're here. Obviously, being from Adelaide, I hate when people write it off or I've never been there. I'm like, you should go. It's so good, and we've got so much talent that's come out of here, and some amazing artists, and just even the town itself is so South Australia is so good. So. For us coming from playing at for our grandparents and little Scott Creek Hall or whatever, and then playing at the O2 in London, sometimes you just I can't believe we're here and
can't wait to see what's next.
Yeah. We just keep cracking on, but it's always a hustle. It doesn't end after that. And if anything, you almost feel the pressure, crap, I've got to outdo the next one, or what can we do next? But I think I just recently went up to the Actor Film and TV Awards, and they had a great festival on there, and I listened to some amazing composers for film and TV, and that's another avenue we might consider doing, and would love to work with some like DJs and music producers that do like electronic music. So like because we always thought we'd love to write a musical. So we've got lots of like ideas, but like touring and everything is like probably our first love and playing big shows, but we love just creating music and making people feel good and happy. And Georgia's probably will talk more about her songwriting and her lyrics. I've written a few songs, but you've polished them up a bit better.
So are you the brains behind the majority of the songs?
I mean, I've just been writing since I was like a little kid, so it's more not that. I mean, also not that you haven't, because you haven't, but you had. It's more something you picked up later on when we were sort of, doing it more as
We're
a
all
band.
quite embarrassed about sharing ideas with each other. Like, I don't know if you have brothers or sisters, but you just like laugh at each other. Like when it's like, I've got this idea, like, should we do it? We're like, like this is like us when we were kids. Like, what an idiot! Like, so we'd be so embarrassed to actually be serious in front of each other. Would you say so?
Yeah.
So Georgia would usually write the song all done before coming, like, or like you'd have most of it down.
Yeah, because for me, songwriting is more personal, and I would be like something that I'd be going through, and I would then like express myself through that, and then even playing it, I would usually remember like with mum and dad or anyone, I'd like record it on the little tape thing. And then it got the software updated over the years. It was like, but I remember the tape when it was like record. But then I'd like run away and go run to the other end of the house and like make you play. Like,
like we'd play
with you in the other room.
Yeah, because I wouldn't want anyone hearing me sing.
We'd all like have our $5 budgets for each other. This is like when we're like 10, not now. And Georgia would just like record a song for mum and dad. It would be like, Dad, you collect the honey from the beehives.
Yeah, something terrible.
But
it was like
we had beehives, like, and then it was like, Mom, you're the one that picks us up from school. Like it was just
anyway.
It's
and they're like, oh, you're amazing. And I'm like, what about this $5 mug from Cheapest Chips, guys? Like, anyway.
So, Georgia, now when you write music, where are you doing that?
Mostly at home. Well, I write a lot when we're traveling, but it's always sort of in a note sort of thing. And then it's just so hard I find when you're traveling to sort of, make time to just be like, let's finish that. So that's when I'm home, which is I do froth on just being in one spot, and you can like, all right, let's collaborate those ideas. That's kind of, Adelaide.
So do you have your own studio or?
Well, we've got one at mum and dad's, and I've got a little office at my place that I've been sort of doing more stuff in, which is cool. So, yeah.
It's a bit more rustic than this, but we really love your studio. It's nice. Claire's like decked it out. The drummer, she's an amazing like woodworker. It's so random. We all have random skills, but
you can use that here, I think.
She got all these like old recycled panels and panelled all the walls, like
pallets.
Sorry, we saved up a bit of money and like built that all. And it's like we've used it all the time because it's so important to have that space. So it's so separate from like your bedroom or your lounge room when you got like all that stuff around. So yeah, it's been really good. Hopefully we'll do more songs. But yeah, Georgia's such a good songwriter. Like I always am so in awe of like keep talking, guys.
How does it begin? Is it a very like rough demo, just you and a guitar, or you and a keyboard or something, and then slowly you build over time? Or do you kind of have that vision already in your head?
Yeah, it's pretty much I'd say it's straight away, but I like my favorite part. I love like writing the song, but then my even more favorite part is like recording it and like layering it. Like I could like. Some of the albums that we've done, I would like I'd have like 100 or 150, 200 tracks sometimes, just like so many different vocals.
Not just us, bro.
Wow.
Yeah.
It's just so much fun. Like I love listening
to
it back
like,
and like all the different. I'll be like, let's do another vocal, or like just all another guitar thing or another. Well, I was using Pro Tools for like ever, but I've just sort of recently started learning Logic because I'm like, it seems it's cool. You don't have to buy so much stuff. It's just a little bit more.
That's a great goal, actually.
But I do like both, but I'm trying to go into Logic a bit more because I think it's I don't know, just trying something else.
If you ever want to dabble in Ableton, as you can see.
Oh, yeah.
You're an Ableton.
I'm not sponsored, but just a comfy shirt.
Well,
you're an Ableton.
Ableton look after us, so we are.
That's awesome.
But we've 10 years now, I think. Longer. Yeah,
cool.
We can't not use Ableton, but Pro Tools is like, no, that's very cool. But honestly, we should try something at some point for fun.
I really want to. Like, Alex talked about you guys, and I was like, we have to do it. Yeah, and now we're back in LA for a little bit.
Till mid-March.
Yeah, even like top liners. Like I think I was telling you off camera 100%. Before. I was like, I would love to do. Got a few friends that do producing and DJing, and what do you like to be called? I'm like, what's the correct terminology for what you guys are? Because I feel like music producers.
Yeah.
And then do you say DJs when you're performing or like?
Well, you're a DJ.
But not much anymore.
I'm not a
We're
DJ.
more, in the studios than we are.
Do you like doing the live shows or?
Live shows are incredibly fun because you get to express all that energy
and see
made in that other room.
Yeah.
But because we're not really touring at the moment or anything, we're not really doing that.
Haven't
it's
quite
more-
recovered from the pandemic yet.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Well,
You should do a festival. I reckon you guys have the chops to be able to organise something. Look at this studio and space.
We'd love to. And I think it wouldn't just have to be electronic as well. I think we could do something like Day on the Green. That would be so cool. Just like the wine region here in South Australia, if anyone that's listening overseas.
It's so good. Yeah.
We don't just have to do the banger festival, like the Stereosonic type in town or whatever.
Yeah.
It's funny because we produce the music that our audience knows us for. They don't know that we make other music. And most of it is on a hard drive. So we've done like the cinematic.
Yeah,
this guy shreds on guitar. I didn't realize I was producing for another client and I needed, it was like, what do you call it? I'm going to say
I
the
said
bird.
the flamenco.
Damn, I was going to say flamingo.
Close
I've
enough.
made that mistake already.
Yeah.
dear.
But no, that was, I can't.
That's so
Well, I
cool.
started with electronic guitar, electric guitar, and then moved into electronic music. I never thought I would because like when I was in bands and stuff, like I thought that was it. I thought club music was terrible. And then my taste changed so quickly. And then I learned you can kind of just do it all.
Well, you guys started on like, what instruments did you start on? I always like find
He's
this
a classically
interesting.
trained
I'm a pianist.
and I started on an electric guitar, basically, and then just went from there.
Yeah, that's amazing.
Band thing for a bit, and then realised I was too selfish to be in a band, and started making music by myself.
Yeah. I have so much respect for bands because I just don't get how you all play together.
I could never be solo. Even at a sound check, like, can you just sing something? I'm like, meow. I'm like,
You do it, you meow?
I'm better now. Like, I'm getting over it. But like, I think at the start, I was like, it's okay. I'd just be like, 1, 2, because and at George's a couple of times, like, didn't your sound not work? And you're like, sing the next line. I was like,
Oh, yeah.
I actually just dropped
There
over.
was a show recently.
Yeah.
And I can't remember. Was it a Tom Jones one? Or was it? And the mic didn't work. Like they didn't.
No, I thought the mic fell down and you were playing Good for a Girl on the piano and you couldn't get it up to sing.
No, it didn't. They didn't have it. The battery must have ran out or something. It was one of those like, and then Ella instead of like taking the lead, you like walked over into the stage and then you like picked up because I have a guitar mic and a piano mic and you
I was like, I'd rather
moved it.
I was like, here you go.
Like, you don't want to take over. Like anyway, that was fine.
Yeah, I was like,
I was kind of stuck on the piano, so I
couldn't.
couldn't.
I'm like, no, I don't want to do it.
Clara do any vocals or anything? Or
She does as well, but it's not like backing vocals, so she wouldn't.
We
sing
do the
or
oohs and ahs, and we're very happy to do that. I love singing, but I like singing with the girls. I like singing to myself sometimes, but I prefer to sing with the girls.
So the harmonies in your like recordings, are they done by you and your sister Clara as well, or is it Georgia? Or
I mean, do you? Like, you hear stories where like they go back in after the like main group and they're like, all right, you just sing that. Like,
I was listening to
she
your
did that
music.
to me in the early days with the bass, and she's like, you just weren't getting it right, and I was like anyway.
Give me that thing.
Yeah, give me that thing.
I was listening to your music earlier today, and I found there was like a lot of harmony and stuff. And I was like, that would take a long time.
You probably.
I do like the octave sort of stuff.
Yeah.
That's
and
what
all,
I
like,
noticed the most. I was like, are they pitched like?
I just hope nobody walks in while I'm doing it because I'm like like literally singing like a.
I heard them. Yeah. I
want to be the mix engineer on that track and just listen. Nice.
I'm always like the hey or the like.
I heard a few of them too.
Yeah.
Okay, now I know that.
Yeah, so I'm always embarrassed with that. Like, yeah.
Oh no.
No, it's good fun though. I can't wait till we start. We've got a few songs that are coming out. We thought we'd probably do a bit of plug while we're here. But yeah, we've got some songs coming out and also music videos. So yeah, we're super excited about that. But I can't wait to record a couple. We've got lots of tracks in the works. But there's some. I can't wait to get back into the studio and do some stuff, some fresh stuff because we've been playing the same songs for the last couple of years.
Yeah,
people like it and we love it too. But like, it's always fun to mix things up and we've. Like as your style keeps going, it like develops and we love just trying new things.
You think you'll record that music here or in the UK?
We're sort of not on a fence at the moment. We're just sort of at the moment. I'm just doing stuff at home like stems, and then it's just there's It's I think we're open to both. Like sometimes it's easy just going into a studio. Like I remember we did it a few years ago. like not that recently, but like just went in and was like, and yeah, the producer recorded everything and then got to walk away and I was like, oh, that was like quick, because usually I'll be like, weeks on a song being like, all right, like just going back. And the problem with when it's just me is that it's I get a bit in my head. She doesn't know what's
right or wrong.
And I'm like, oh, like
there's no one to say I don't
maybe
like
I'll do that guitar again. Then sometimes you should need somebody to be like, no, like, or whatever.
It's okay.
Or like collaborative.
Yeah. So I think we're just, at the moment we're recording, but then
we've got a few, there's some amazing also producers, even some of the guys from the tours that do a lot of mixing and stuff. Like they don't just do the mixing on stage, they do producing and a few people are always happy to just have a play around and it's just finding that right fit as well, because it's quite a personal thing. So I think when you're in the studio, you want to feel comfortable to be able to talk about what you like and spring ideas and do this and that, because sometimes it can feel a little bit domineering, or you can get especially in our earlier days, we're quite intimidating. We're like, oh, well, they are the boss, they know best. And everyone's always been lovely that we've worked with, but they wouldn't have known what we were thinking because we would just have been too scared to say, oh, maybe can you do it like this? I think we're a lot more assertive now, but that just comes with age and just experience. I think you learn that over time.
100%. Well, one of the themes I've picked up from this, and thank you so much, is just the excitement and passion and love for it. That is so inspiring.
Oh, thanks.
I want to get in the studio now. But in closing, to wrap this up, have you got one bit of advice for someone who's watching or listening that's starting out that will really just help clarify what is important? What's the path that you think you girls took that made the most sense?
I think always know it's going to be hard. Life's hard and it's going to be hard. Anything that is really fun or really good and stuff, you see all these artists doing all these big things, but they've come from that as well. A lot of people don't see that journey or where it all came from. And like I said before, we've still got a long way to go too. But if you really love it and you keep going and believe yourself, know it's going to be hard, but just keep going. All I can say is just keep sticking at it. Just be you as well. If you're not happy with the music you're playing, I know there was a podcast or something, I was listening to a video about people, talking about how they always want to get on Triple J, and the producers were sick of people coming in saying, hey, can you make me sound good enough to get on Triple J? It's just play what you want to play. Your music will come out the best when it's what you like and what makes you you. Don't try and be someone else. Don't try and... I think that would be... Because we always tried, one time we were wearing flower crowns, trying to be flowery girls, and then the next we're maybe we'll do this, maybe we'll do that. But then now we've just merged and we've found our groove and we found what we like, we find our style, and it's always developing. But I think when you feel comfortable in what you wear, from what you're wearing to what you're playing, how you're moving on stage, that's when your best will come out. So just... yeah, and even if you don't know who you are, try some stuff, and then if it feels right, that's right. And if you feel weird in, I don't know, wearing a marshmallow suit, don't do that. Or do it if it feels right. Could be a cool thing. That's how Marshmallow came to the square.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know as if we've been talking for hours. I'm so sorry.
It goes quickly.
Yeah. Would you agree?
Yeah, I think just making sure your heart's in the right place, because just if you really love it and you're passionate about it and you've got some talent, then it's a lot of it is just staying in the game, because there's so many times where I think we could have been I'll see you later.
There's
kind
also
of thing,
can be a lot of noise, and it's not always bad noise, because people you vent to friends or vent just in general, and people why don't you just quit? It all sounds a bit hard, because of course you're there's lots of stuff that we wouldn't that goes on behind the scenes, but also just, don't listen too much, because I think it's, especially as you get older, it's easy to compare, I think, we were saying, to other people, and also other people's careers. Some people get really lucky and they get some great opportunities with people, and it does excel them a little bit faster. But it doesn't matter, don't compare yourself to that as well, because you'll get there if you keep going, and there's always a way, as Lemony Snicket's book says, I think, when Violet ties her bow up and she's there's always something. So I always think that. And you can have 100 no's and 1 yes. So you never know.
Yeah, and I think enjoying it as well. No matter what you're if you're playing in pubs or if you're playing on big stages, if you're passionate about what you're doing.
Technically, definitely advice, just play many gigs. I think you're talking about the social media culture. There's some incredible singers and artists out there on socials, and that's so great. And it's such a good channel. A lot of people do find success from that and have that inbuilt crowd already if they do a big show. But I think as well, don't forget about the art of making the music and the art of spending time on something.
And also the people that you meet along the way, like really like cherishing the
journey.
relationships
like,
that you
even if you don't get where you want to be, like have some good stories when you're in the old folks home when you're older. That's what I always say. So I don't know.
Good.
Hopefully I'm not in a home. Hopefully I'm like a bungalow in Monaco or something. No, I'm joking. Yeah, like we'll see.
How good. Well, thank you. No, that was perfect. That's great advice. Alex, did you?
No, I'm all right.
Sweet.
Alex, sorry, I've got such a whiny voice.
No. I'm just soaking it all in.
Yeah, we're going to have to watch this episode back a few times. There's a lot of key takeaways in that. Thank you both so much
thank you
for being on the forecast. We really appreciate it.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, and like, well done.
Yeah.
Well done.
No.
Yeah, no.
See how we go. Yeah.
Keep going. Keep
Say
going.
hi to Tom and Sting for us.
Yeah.
They won't
Tell them to
remember
swing
us,
past when they
but,
can.
Yeah,
We'll have it open for
all the
them.
best. We'd love to get you back, once you've done the next world tour.
Yeah, definitely. And yeah, you guys too, congrats on this. It's such an exciting space and I think so good for Adelaide. And like, I love seeing people just, pursuing their passions. And this is such a cool studio. If you haven't been here, you should check it out if you're an artist. Who do you guys appeal to here? Like anyone can come in or book a session with you guys?
Anyone that's got a passion for music or creativity, just
come on
Put us
in.
up.
Yeah. Oh, awesome. And excited for the next track with you guys as well.
Yeah,
Just
you heard it here first.
Yeah.
So good.
I'm excited.
All right, awesome. Well, if you've enjoyed this episode, we'll put links in the description on YouTube and Spotify. Please do check out the Germain Sisters, follow their journey, and if you want more of this content, let us know. Until next time, cheers.